Hello, welcome to the Blind Dog Trainer channel. I'm Eve and today we're going to look at how to clicker train your blind dog. Clicker training a blind dog really isn't that much different to clicker training a dog with sight. If anything, it might be a little bit easier because they're not going to be distracted by what they see in your hands as the reward. So what we're doing is we're conditioning the dog to associate that click, that noise with a reward. So once they hear that click, you're going to want to reward them about 2 seconds later with a treat. And at the moment, all we're going to do is just get the dog used to when it hears that noise, it gets a reward. The benefits. First off, it's only going to take your dog a few minutes each day until it starts to associate the click with the reward. Once that association's been made, going forward, you have a good structure for learning. Whenever you ask the dog to do something and it does it, you click, give the dog the reward, and then the dog will learn a lot easier. This is known as positive reinforcement, as opposed to shouting at your dog or telling your dog no for not doing something correctly, which the dog's really going to struggle to learn that way. It's also going to build a lot of trust between you and your dog by being consistent as well. Okay, so before you start, if you've never used a clicker with your dog before, one thing that I would recommend doing is get your clicker and click it in front of your dog while they're relaxing around the house or asleep, just to make sure that they don't become distressed by the noise, because what you don't want to do is end up every time your dog does something good making a click sound that the dog absolutely hates and making it upset and worried, because it's not going to learn like that. So it's really important just to make sure that the dog is okay with that noise. Okay, so before we start, you're going to need a clicker. So I've got two different types of clicker here. They both do exactly the same thing. This one is a little bit louder. This is the one that I mainly use, especially because I do a lot of training outside, and it's a little bit easier to hear if it's windy or if there's cars driving past. So this one is quite a loud click. Okay, and this one here is a little bit softer. It's also got a whistle built in that I've never actually used. But yeah, the click on this isn't quite as loud. So maybe if you've got a dog that is quite sensitive to noise, going for a clicker that isn't quite as loud would probably be a wise idea. Or if you do a lot of training in the house where you don't really need that noise to travel as far or as loud, then a quieter one would probably be a good idea. The other thing that you're going to need is some treats. I have a little belt that I put on with a little treat pouch attached, just because it's easy to get my treats out, and also because they're kept enclosed, it doesn't really distract my dog as much. She might initially smell them at first, but then she'll sort of settle down a little bit. Whereas if they're in my hand, she's quite sniffy, and it can be quite distracting as well. So I would recommend getting a treat bag, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have one. Treat wise, anything that you think your dog's gonna like. I use little fish bites. They're quite good for their skin and that as well, and she seems to really like them. Okay, so I've just come to do a bit of clicker training with Poppy, and she can smell the treats. So what I'm going to do is just wait until she stops sniffing around and wait until she settles down, and then I'm going to start my clicker training. Okay, she's got a bit bored with me now. She's going to lie in her bed. Okay, so she's settled there. So I'm going to go over in a second and do a click. Okay, so Poppy's in bed now. She's nice and calm. I'm pretty sure she can still smell my treats, but what's really important is that I've not got anything in my hand, so there's nothing that's going to be distracting her or rustling around until she hears this click. There we go. So she's not got to do anything for the reward at this point. She's just got to start to learn to associate it. There you go, darling. Good girl. Okay, and then just continue with that maybe 10 times and then just give it a little rest. So if you go back to this each day, she will soon start to pick up that whenever she hears this click, she's going to know that that's going to be followed by a reward. Good girl. Oh, good girl. So thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And I really hope you and your dog have an awesome time bonding over clicker training. I'll see you on the next video.